We're glad to have Tina Jones in the congregation. Very respected. We're trying to share a message. Something about the mission of all of us. We're going to share. Hi. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Lenny. I'm Whittle, friendly neighborhood witch here. And that's a witch with a capital W. I also identify as pagan, neo-pagan, an atheistic pagan, soft polytheist pagan, and practitioner of an earth-based, earth-centered tradition. We'll recognize from the words of the UK6 source. Those all describe me, but the word that truly captures my spiritual world is witch. Everyone around me is celebrating Halloween, which I love. I'm also preparing for Samhain, which is one of the witch's high holy days, the Sabbath honoring life and death and rebirth. If Halloween is like Mardi Gras and its gaudiness and revelry, then Samhain is like Lent, solemn, silent, grounded, darkness and stillness and quiet. I've been a practicing witch since 2005. It's a continuing journey, but it began here in this UU congregation as I found support and encouragement in my free and responsible search for true community. One of the first public events I ever attended as a representative of my faith was the Winter Holiday Festival at Georgia Southern. I remember it now as a dazzling display of the culinary art of the spiritual. The Kwanzaa tables featured black-eyed peas and collard greens. The Hanukkah table was giving away chocolate. The Muslim student group passed around trays of the best dates I have ever tasted. And my friend and I unloaded our own bounty. Mull cider and Yule buns and butter cookies decorated like little suns. The students stopped and pondered our poster. Blessed Yule, it read. They said, Yule, that's like Christmas, right? And I said, that's one meaning, but at this table, it is a holy day celebrated at the winter solstice. What's that? They said. Someone told them about the Earth's elliptical journey around the sun, a free science lesson to go along with the cookies. And they were very good cookies, so we have lots of people stopping by. One person, however, noticed my silver cookie, and he put his cookie on a napkin and then leaned in closer and said, my best friend is a witch too.
No.
It was a really good moment with the W word out in the open, everybody smiling and happy, because I am, to use the lingo, out of the broom closet. Not all witches are, however, and we have good reason not to be. But at Halloween, witches are everywhere. And as I stand, there are witches dancing in Forsyth Park at the annual Witch Dance Flash Mob. There are witches on paddle boards raising money for environmental causes. There are witches selling baked goods to raise money for animal welfare. Not all of those folks identify as capital W witches they are. And I'm here to let you in on a little secret. Even if witchcraft isn't your spiritual, you can walk it for a little while, an afternoon or an hour. To quote Alice Hoffman in Practical Magic, there is a little witch in all of us. So today, during the Samhain season, I'd like to share some ways that you too can be a little witchy. First thing, archetype, witch represents the rebellious, the crawling who lives at the edges of civilization. But this image is more than symbolic. Witches have always existed in liminal space, in the bramble and the hedge, in the deep wood. Because throughout history and across the world, witches, or in most cases suspected witches, have been the targets of violence, especially institutional violence. And that violence is intersectional, impossible to untangle from misogyny, racism, homophobia, and poverty. I don't have to tell a UU congregation about channeling the energy of resistance in the world today. It's right there in our third source. Words and deeds of prophetic people which challenge us to confront powers and structures of evil with justice, compassion, and transforming power of love. To do this in a witchy way, it's to bring your whole self to this resistance and to conjure it into actually thought a word as you embodied it. Witchcraft asks you to stand fully in that resistance, in the connection and strength, but also an awareness of the danger. And acknowledge that by doing so, you are part of a lineage that goes back centuries and will go forward for centuries, and which goes all around you, all around the world, with company of all races and genders and nationalities. To quote the Yerba Mala Collective, which is a group of occult-leaning anti-fascist activists, witchcraft is a name given to networks that have survived despite innumerable repressions. The history of fascism is not just the history of fascism, it's the history of resistance. In other words, if the broom fits the witch, it is time to ride it. Because, and this is my second point, witchcraft is connection to the whole of the world around you, everybody and everything. This is our UU7 principle, interdependent life. Witches use this imagery too, describing the universe of time and space as a web or a wheel. Witchcraft centers me in the middle of it, and you, and you, and you, and you. How can a wheel have multiple centers? Mathematically, it can't, and yet it does. Here is a ritual you can do tonight to explore that paradigm. Go outside and look at the sky. Tonight is the first quarter of the new moon. And go out after sunset, but before 11:16 p.m., you might glimpse that ivory crescent in the west. Or you might see clouds. Some of them look thick as a blanket, some thin as gossamer, each with a name that sounds like a spell being cast. Cumulonimbus, altostratus. You might see stars. Humans adore stars, grouping them into constellations and then telling stories about the pictures they make in the sky. But what you will definitely see is darkness. More darkness than anything else. Stand in the presence of that darkness, face to face with the vastness of the universe. Ponder the cycles and the seasons. The sun sets and rises, the moon waxes and wanes, and the stars wheel overhead. But these are illusions. Fictions really defy the human perspective at the center of the moon. Because the moon does not grow or shrink. The sun blazes as steady now as it did in the height of summer, and the stars do not move like clockwork above us. It is the earth that is tilting and whirling, the same earth that feels so steady beneath your feet. Another illusion, this steadiness, for the earth and you and I are plummeting through space at 66,000 miles an hour. And yet, moments like this feel so still, so infinite yet so achingly finite. Paradoxical and a little terrifying, and definitely awe-inspiring. That's witchcraft. To not only seek such experiences, but to explore them fully, even the parts that scare us, especially the parts that scare us. And one of the greatest and scariest of these mysteries is death itself. It is the Samhain season, the time we consider life, death, and rebirth. And to approach death in a witchy way is to see it as that cycle of the season, part of something larger, yet whole unto itself, ever present. While witchcraft seeks to live this understanding every day of the year, we pay special attention to it. And another way that you can claim your inner witch is by connecting to your departed ancestors and understanding that you too are an ancestor for future generations. Witches often have altars specifically devoted to their deceased family members. My parents both passed away recently, my mother only a few months ago. And my home is now one giant ancestor altar, filled with photographs, cookware, jars of coins, handmade linens, handcrafted tables, and about 19 gallons of homemade Scuppernong wine. I want it to be me after we're distilling that stuff. In witchcraft, we have all kinds of ancestors, not just the folks who are on our family tree in the flesh and blood, but also our chosen family. We honor the ancestors who have been adopted into our family, or who have adopted us in milk and honey. We honor our kin of stone and bone, the people who share the same birthplace, as well as the forgotten dead, those who have no one left to mourn them, and our mighty dead, the pagan forebears whose words and works inspire us. One of my favorite Samhain rituals to honor the ancestors is the silence. This is a meal eaten in silence and darkness in which the spirits of the deceased are invited to be present among the living ones. We create an altar with photographs of our departed friends and family and pets. We light candles to honor our ancestral lines. We set a place at the table with an empty chair to show that we miss our loved ones and still cherish them, and that there is always still a place with us. Then we eat a meal in silence, sharing the bounty of the earth with each other and symbolically with our departed loved ones by putting food upon their plates, wine in their glasses. The food is later placed outside for the spirits to claim. In our neighborhood, the spirits are aided by possums and raccoons. But if this option is unavailable to you, it's acceptable to leave the food at the place setting for a while and then just dispose of it properly. I found this ritual to be very adaptable. All you need to do is set up a place in your home, a shelf or a table, and gather items there that remind you of departed loved ones, especially those you've lost in the previous year. Place a candle there, perhaps one in the scent that reminds you of your loved ones or that feels comforting to you. Bake a dish that connects you to your lineage, a traditional recipe from your ethnic background, a dish you learned from a family member, or seasonal fruits and vegetables. And then make some time to enjoy the food in silence and presence while remembering and giving thanks for all the lives connected to you. You can do this by yourself or in the company of others. The important thing is this: as you recall those memories, feel the presence of your departed loved ones with you. My witch friends often say, what is remembered lives, as an offering of condolence. There is literal truth here. I'm going to quote a cognitive neuroscientist here, Dr. Douglas Hofstadter, on this phenomenon. This is from his book, I Am a Strange Loop, about human consciousness itself. The instinctive, though seldom articulated purpose of holding a funeral or memorial service is to reunite the people most intimate with the deceased and to collectively rekindle in them all the special living flame that represents the essence of the beloved person. Though the primary brain has been eclipsed, there is, in those who remain, a collective corona that still flows. That is what human love means. The word love cannot thus be separated from the word I. The more deeply rooted the symbol for someone inside you, the greater the love, the brighter the light that remains behind. That's science. It's also magic. Which brings me to my final way that you too can be a witch, by conjuring some magic, however you define it. British occultist Aleister Crowley defined it as the science and art of causing change to occur in conformity with will, which all of us do every single day. Every time we take an action to bring about a specific desired result. If the floor is dirty and you take a broom to it, does that count as magic? According to Crowley, yes, absolutely. Understanding the science part is easy. I'm sure my aerospace engineer husband could create an equation describing the movement of the broom across the floor, the most efficient pattern to gather the most dirt with the fewest strokes, the best type of material to use for straw and needle. But there's also an art to sweeping. My husband would be the first to point out that a vacuum cleaner is much more efficient than a broom. But I enjoy sweeping much more than vacuuming. I enjoy the feel of the wooden handle, the soft cerceration of the bristles against the floor. I find a mind, soul, body satisfaction in sweeping that I do not in vacuuming. And I'm not the only one. Google Zen and brooms and sweeping, and you will find a plethora of information for mindfulness of intentional sweeping. How is it magic? With all due deference to Crowley, my definition of magic. For me, magic is intentionally interacting with the interconnected forces known and unknown. We are all a part of these forces and participate whether for good or ill, consciously or subconsciously. Let me return once again to the wisdom of my engineer husband. He knows that if the wing strut on an airplane is not adjusted just so, the whole thing crashes and burns. That is the truth. But all truths, even the kind that keep airplanes in the air, have holes in them. My husband knows this too. He learned it at Georgia Tech in his differentials equations class. There are some values you cannot solve for. You have to know how to fill in the blank and move on. Magic helps me honor these unsolvable empty spaces. I needed faith big enough for this truth, that there are many ways to know this universe, and not all of them are found through the scientific method. These ways of knowing are paradoxical but complementary, predictable and surprising at the same time. For me, this is what it is to live a magical life, a witchy one. You can do it too, whether you wear a pointy hat or not. Thank you, and blessed be.
Thank you, Jane.